Reddit can be a great resource, whether it's for solutions, advice, or just entertainment. Millions of users visit the site every day, engaging in discussion, asking questions, or commenting their opinions. Today's story is of one such user who posted in r/relationship advice. What started as a typical post for the subreddit would be the catalyst for horror and despair, shocking a community online and off. This is the harrowing tale of Jason in Hell. On October 28, 2016, a user named Jason in Hell made a post on r/relationship advice. In the post, he described the discovery of his wife's infidelity, the resulting confrontation, and his decision at the time to remain in the marriage. Though it had been over a year since the affair, OP couldn't move past it. It read, "I'm 30 male, having a hard time coping with my wife, 29 female, having cheated on me with our neighbor, 51 male. TLDR, I caught my wife cheating on me over a year ago. I stayed with her for the sake of the children, but I haven't been able to get it off my mind since. It has been 476 days since I confronted her about it. How do I know? Because every time I catch myself thinking about it, I tell myself, it's only been X days. Maybe you won't think about it tomorrow." So to go back to the beginning, I had just taken on a new project and new responsibilities at work. I was working a lot of hours, 60 plus per week, and I was noticeably stressed. It was in May of 2015 that I noticed that she had added a password to her phone. When confronted about it, she told me it was because she was planning my Father's Day present and didn't want me to ruin the surprise. About a week later, she came to me and told me that she felt guilty keeping a big secret from me and told me that she was having our neighbor, a contractor, build a home office for me as my present. It struck me as odd, as in our 6 years together, she has never said she felt guilty about anything, and always insists that she never regrets anything in her life. Time goes on, her phone is still password protected, and things don't feel right. I see her using her phone and smiling to herself more and more often. But when I ask her what she is doing, she says nothing and puts her phone away. So one morning, I wait for her to get in the shower, and I grab her phone before it requires the password. I go through her messages and find that she is texting the neighbor. I'm all covered in frosting. Wanna lick it off? There were no other messages to the neighbor, but I found out later that was because she had set up her phone to delete messages after a certain amount of time. I felt uncomfortable with it, but I knew she had a perverted sense of humor, and I thought she would never do anything to hurt me. More time goes by, and the neighbor is spending more and more time at our house, but the office is being completed slower and slower. I can't help but worry that something isn't right, so I start checking her location using Google Timeline. It was at this point that I realized that there are large gaps in her GPS history because she was turning off her phone's GPS. Fast forward to July, and at this point the paranoia is driving me nuts. So I tell her that I need to install a new antivirus on her phone. While she has it unlocked for me, I install anti-theft software so I can remotely turn the GPS back on and set up AT&T message backup and restore so I can read all of her text messages from that point on my computer. The next day, my mother asks to spend time with my 2 kids, so my wife drops them off with her and has the day to herself. I watch my wife's activity from work as she spends the day trying to meet up with the neighbor, but is unsuccessful because he is busy with another job site. That night, We get the kids back from my mom's house, and we go out to dinner with the neighbor, his girlfriend, and his son. My wife and his girlfriend are having a good time drinking, laughing, and just joking around. His girlfriend mentions that she would like to see Magic Mike XXL. So I say it's a good idea. I'll watch the kids so my wife and her can go. So my wife and her go, and the neighbor and I go back to my house so the kids can play video games together. The kids are back in my son's room playing games, and the neighbor is sitting across from me on the other couch. It is at this point that my wife starts texting him. She is describing sex acts she would like to perform with him, and he is reciprocating. She tells him to check his Snapchat, and at the same time, I get a snap from her too. It is her fingering herself in a bathroom stall. They keep talking, trying to figure out when they can meet up and have sex. They decide on Monday morning after I go to work. So in my head, I had already planned to pretend to leave and circle back to catch them. But then they tell each other that they love each other, and it is all I can do not to leap off the couch and knock him out. But I contain myself and continue reading the conversation unfolding in front of me. Then he tells her, "You're my girl now," to which she replies, "Always have been," ending with him writing, "and always will be." My wife and the neighbor's girlfriend return from the movie, and I ask them politely to sit down. I then ask the kids to stay in my son's room and shut the door. I return to the living room and confront my wife and the neighbor. I say, "So you two love each other, huh?" My wife goes into full-blown denial mode, and the neighbor's girlfriend starts smacking him. I ask my wife if she has been texting him. She says no. So I show her the text messages. She admits to it, but says it was the first time it had gone that far. I ask my wife if she sent him pictures. She says no. So I show her the picture. She admits it and says it was the first time. I ask her if she is having sex with him, and she says no. Because I didn't wait to catch them having sex together, I didn't have evidence to prove her wrong, so that one stayed unresolved. I tell her that I am leaving her. She tells me she will make sure I never see my kids again if I do. She planned on using the fact that I had attempted suicide in high school to prove me unfit to have the children. She continues to say that it was my fault for being so busy with work and stressed out, that she just wanted someone she could talk to. Then she gives me an ultimatum to decide what I'm going to do, or she will decide for me. The neighbor's girlfriend starts defending the two of them, saying that it couldn't have been serious if they weren't having sex, and that my wife and I were too perfect together to let this break us up. The neighbors go home, and my wife and I argue for the rest of the night about what we are going to do. We go to bed separately, not having resolved anything. We keep going back and forth on the subject all weekend, and finally settle on we were going to separate temporarily while we figure out what we want. I was going to stay in the house, and she was going to take the kids and go to her mom's house. That Monday, I go to work, and I get a text from her in the middle of a meeting with my bosses stating that she had explained things to our kids, but that they were upset, and I need to explain it to them also. I get home from work to find my kids crying. She had told them that mommy had to move out because dad was mad at her. When my son wanted to stay with me, she told him that he can't. My son put it together that if mommy has to move out because I'm mad at her, and he must move out, then I must be mad at him too. My daughter was crying because my son was. I don't think she was old enough to understand what was happening. It was at that moment I realized she was going to drag the kids through hell if I left her, so I swallowed my feelings and begged her to stay. She agreed and insisted that I apologize to our neighbor since we were still going to need to hang out with them because our sons are good friends. I hate it, but I do it anyway. We still hang out with them from time to time, and they come to our various birthday and holiday parties. But I'd do anything for my kids, and I behave civil every time. Things die down for a while. I still think about it constantly. I worry, how can I keep from making her so unhappy that she cheats on me again? Then almost a year from the original incident, around Father's Day again, she sent him pictures again. She claims it was an accident, that she meant to send them to me instead. I don't fully believe her, but I move on anyway. Things have been quiet on that front for about 4 months now, but I still think about it constantly. This is going to sound stupid, but I feel like I have a part of my brain that I can't shut off, that is always thinking. I used to use that to solve programming problems, and it made me very good at my job. But ever since this incident, the only thing it thinks about is her and him, and if I did the right thing. My job performance has suffered, and I feel like I haven't gotten sleep in months. I'm afraid that after this much time, and the fact that I begged her back, that to say that I want a divorce now would only make her more vindictive towards my children and I. I just feel like I have put myself so deep in a hole that I can never get back out. I haven't really talked to anyone about this. I didn't want to talk to my mom about it because I felt she would treat my wife differently, and I didn't need the two fighting any more than they already do. I tried talking to one friend about it, but his advice was to put my trust in God, and that was not much solace for me as I am an atheist. So I have no clue what to do with my feelings or how to move on from this. Following the post, the comments were filled with users urging the OP to seek a counselor and divorce attorney. The comments were unanimous in that OP needed to get out of this incredibly toxic relationship. User deleted. Seek legal counsel for divorce. My recommendation also is to get a psych evaluation, knowing that your psyche was once compromised over an attempted suicide. Your wife, on the other hand, has sociopathic tendencies, clearly. Keep records of everything, even if it's writing down details of an argument. That's sufficient enough to be presented as evidence in the case you do pursue a divorce. It doesn't seem very difficult to present a case and prove to the court that she is unfit to be sole provider due to lack of profession/job, her adulterous behavior, and her sociopathic tendencies. Good luck, mate. User, Oi with the poodle. Oh wow, this is a hot mess. It's time to go talk to a lawyer. It seems the only reason you're holding it all together is for your kids. So, as they are rightfully your priority and you will have to co-parent them with your soon-to-be ex-wife, you need a plan that will work. A lawyer can help. Do you have any family you can tell, close friends that can help support you through this difficult time? Please reach out. Being alone will make it harder. Now, if I misread the situation and your goal is to get past the cheating and remain married, counseling could help. There are clearly issues with trust that have to be worked through. Of course, you can't trust your wife. She didn't come clean even when confronted. There are a lot of options for you to think over. Please take your own needs into consideration. You will be a better father if you are happy. Even the best parents have to put their own oxygen masks before their kids. Get yours on. User, Oh boisterous. I can't fucking believe that not only did you stay with her, but she got you to apologize. Are you fucking kidding me? Go speak to a lawyer now. Also, get yourself into therapy because you're going to need it through the divorce process. Ask your lawyer about things like parental alienation. That's what she started doing when she told the kids that you were kicking them out because you were mad at her. Also, make damn sure she leaves the house. If you leave, you'll have a hell of a time getting the house in the divorce. If you stay, you'll most likely get to stay in there indefinitely. Let your cheating scumbag wife find a new place to live. On the 1st of November, JASONINHELL returned to r/relationship advice to thank those who had taken the time to read his previous post and comment. In his update post, he announced that he had decided to move forward with the dissolution of his marriage. He wrote, "Update, I'm taking your advice. Instead of trying to fix something that she doesn't want to fix, she has refused counseling several times in the past before this even happened. I am going to get myself and my kids out. I meet with an attorney next week. Thank you everyone for helping me see how far I had my head up my ass." Though this post did not gain as much traction as the original post, commenters were glad to see OP taking control of the situation. Those engaged clapped themselves on the back for helping another lost soul, another job well done. With no further updates, users assumed OP was moving on with his new life, and they too moved on. On November 17th, 2016, a woman called 911 to report that she had stabbed her 2 small children to death and then stabbed herself.
Montgomery County 911, where's your emergency?
203 South Madison Street,
In what town?
Darlington.
Hey, what's going on there?
I just stabbed myself and I killed my 2 children.
You stabbed yourself and killed your 2 children?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what's your name?
Brandi Worley.
Brandi what?
Worley.
Okay. How do you spell your last name?
Worley.
And where are the children at?
In my daughter's room on the floor.
In your daughter's room on the floor? Okay. What's your phone number, Brandi? And what caused you to do this today?
My husband wanted a divorce and wanted to take my kid. I won't let him have my kid.
Okay, and how old are your children?
7 and 3.
10 and 3?
7.
7 and 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where did you stab yourself at?
In the neck.
Okay. Are you bleeding?
Yeah, there's blood everywhere.
Okay, and where are you at?
In my living room.
You're in your living room?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and are you armed now with the knife still?
No, it's in my children's room.
Okay, are you still there? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, where's your husband at?
Downstairs somewhere.
Okay, what's his condition?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him.
And when you say downstairs, is he in a basement or?
Yeah.
Okay, what's his name?
Jason.
Is what?
Jason.
Nathan?
Jason.
Jason? Jason Worley?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have any other weapons with you?
Yeah, no.
No? Okay. And what are you feeling right now? I mean, you're tired? Are you,
Yeah, I took a lot of Benadryl.
You took a lot of Benadryl?
Yeah.
Okay. Is the front door unlocked?
No, we don't use it.
You know, you just use the back door?
Yeah. Side. It's on the side. It's unlocked.
Okay. And is there anyone else in the residence besides your children and you and your husband?
I called my mom.
You called your mom? What did she say?
I hang up and call 911 and she'd be here in a second.
2 days prior, Jason Worley told his wife, Brandi Worley, that he wanted a divorce. The following day, on November 16, Brandi went to Walmart under the guise of buying craft supplies and purchased a K-bar combat knife. Returning home, she hid the knife in her son's bedroom. That evening, Jason opted to sleep downstairs in the basement, not wanting to take the couch or the marital bed. As he lay sleeping downstairs, Brandi told her 7-year-old son Tyler that they were going to have a sleepover in her 3-year-old daughter Charlie's room in an attempt to lure him in. Once Tyler joined them in Charlie's room, Brandi began stabbing her 7-year-old son with the knife she'd purchased. The vicious attack woke 3-year-old Charlie, who was sleeping nearby, and she asked her mother, "What are you doing?" Brandi simply told her to go back to sleep. After violently stabbing her son, she turned the knife on her daughter. The repeated stabs to the children's necks were fatal. When both of her children were dead, she attempted to take her own life with the same knife. Brandi called her mother before calling 911. She told the operator that she had murdered her 2 children, stabbed herself in the neck, and taken an excessive amount of Benadryl. Because of the cold and emotionless demeanor of the caller, the 911 operator hoped that this was just a terrible prank. However, halfway through the call, Brandi's mother arrived at the house. The dispatcher asked Brandi's mother to check on the welfare of the children. When Brandi's mother saw Tyler and Charlie's lifeless bodies, she began screaming. It was the screaming that woke Jason, and only then did he realize what had happened. "Now you can't take the kids from me," Brandi told him. Police found her sitting in the living room. She had left the children on the floor of Charlie's room with a blanket laid across them. The knife was discarded near their bodies. Shortly after this tragic incident became news, Redditors returned to JASONINHELL's posts. Comments of concern and dread shared links to various articles about the double homicide. User Texan Invasion X. "Oh my god, man. Holy shit, this can't be fucking real. This guy's wife just murdered his kids. Fuck. Man, this can't be real. Please tell me this isn't real. Please, help. Someone tell me this is fake." User Super Awesome Cookies. "She murdered his children." A few days later, Jason returned to the subreddit to leave an update confirming Redditors' worst fears, as the internet and the real world spilled into each other in horrific fashion. Jason wrote, "Update, thank you. I would like to give a heartfelt and sincere thank you for the advice and support I have received here. No one could have foreseen the tragedy that resulted from me filing for divorce. You guys perform a wonderful service to those in need, and I hope you continue to do so in the future. Edit. I would never ask for donations. I think it is incredibly tacky. I've worked very hard for everything I have in life, but because there has been a GoFundMe created by her family, and I can't guarantee that they won't turn around and use it to support her in some way, I just ask that you help spread the GoFundMe that my employer created for me. Included in this post were links, one to an article describing the tragedy, and another to a GoFundMe created to help cover funeral costs. Jason would also post in the Philip DeFranco subreddit with a message to Phil, thanking him for his show, as it was something that his children enjoyed watching together with him. The post caught the attention of Phil himself, who encouraged viewers of his show to support the GoFundMe. The small community of Darlington was beside itself. Many people recalled the mother and children fondly. Neighbors said she was a good mother and friend, so to say that they were shocked and devastated would be an understatement. One neighbor said he always looked forward to seeing the kids in the mornings. In the days before the murders, he had helped the children make a birthday card for their mother. The children were a familiar sight around the neighborhood, and it was clear that no one could have seen this coming. Even the Montgomery County Sheriff appeared visibly emotional and had to pause to collect himself during the press conference in which he discussed the murders.
I can't imagine the pain and the grief that these families are experiencing this morning. Please keep these families in your thoughts and prayers.
Brandi was taken to the hospital, where she would spend a week receiving treatment for her self-inflicted injuries, before being sent to Montgomery County Jail to await trial. A vigil was held on November 18, 2016, followed by the children's funeral on November 22nd. In March of 2017, Jason's divorce was finalized. Brandi, who would originally plead not guilty, pled guilty to murder in January 2018. Jason said she was just as unremorseful at the hearing as she was in the 911 call. She spoke in a very matter-of-fact manner when describing her crime. It was heart-wrenching to hear her speak as she did. On March 19, 2018, she was sentenced to 65 years for the murder of 3-year-old Charlie and 55 years for the murder of 7-year-old Tyler, totaling 120 consecutive years. All I want and have ever wanted was to have her out of sight and mind so that I may move forward from this horror, Jason said. On June 22, 2018, Jason would surprise Reddit with a final update describing how he was feeling and coping, as well as answering a few questions. An update from JASONINHELL, TLDR. I am doing better, and I continue to get better every day. The first thing you may notice is this is being posted from a different account. I deleted the u/JASONINHELL account in a knee-jerk reaction to seeing my Reddit posts in the news. I guess the first question to answer is how am I doing? And to that, I would say I am doing well. I have bad days, but I would think that is to be expected. It is just important that I, or anyone going through something, continue to use the support of friends and family, as well as good coping skills, to not let myself be completely defeated on those bad days. I won't lie, I struggled to get back to where I am. For some time, I refused to sleep because of combination of fear of what I would wake up to and nightmares about that night. For a time, I used alcohol to sleep, but my family loved me enough to take it from me before it became a damaging and permanent habit. I was hospitalized because I did have thoughts of ending my life because I missed my children so much. From that, I learned that you should never be ashamed of your mental health, and not seeking treatment will only make it worse, not better. We have all heard it, but if you or a loved one is struggling, seek immediate assistance. Your life is too important to throw away in a moment of weakness. By putting off treatment, I only caused everything else in my life to suffer. I lost my job and became reclusive to the house. But don't worry, I have been back to work since December, and I have nearly regained my former position and salary. So I am good and require no assistance. The second question would be, how do I feel about the sentencing? That is something that is harder to answer, because no matter what the sentence, nothing will bring back my beloved children. Do I think she should have gotten the death penalty, which Indiana has? No, I do not. She wanted to die, and after 9 years of giving her what she wanted when she wanted it, I was not going to give her another thing. Do I think the life sentence will have any appreciable effect on her? I don't know. One thing she always stressed for the entire time that I knew her was that she lived her life without any regrets. Even after I caught her cheating on me, she continued to say she had no regrets. As for the ex-in-laws, they continue to be a problem to this day. Shortly after everything happened, they changed the locks on the home I was renting from them, with my property still inside. After trying to civilly negotiate the return of the property, it was required that I involve law enforcement. That is an ongoing legal battle. A member of the family accused me of stealing property I had purchased from them prior to the death of the children, and threatened to take action against me unless I paid double what I had already paid them. I alerted authorities, and as far as I know, that is resolved. They continued to make visiting my children's grave difficult. During the 1-year anniversary, they sat in their truck and just watched me the whole time I was visiting the grave. Because of that, I don't visit the grave as often as I would like to. If I can impart on you something that I have learned through all of this, it is that you should always take the time to be with the ones you love. It doesn't matter if they are asking you to read The Pokey Little Puppy for the millionth time, or asking you to play Smash Bros, even though you both know they will wipe the floor with you every time. Just do it, because you never know what time will be the last time. Always make sure they know how much you love them. I had the fortune that the last thing my children ever heard from me was, "I love you. Good night. I will see you in the morning."